Hello everyone, welcome back. This is going to be my part 16 of my iPad Go 2 breakdown series. We're just going to continue along here. I found some new interesting things I've never seen before for confirmations of eclipses between 2017 and 2023, specifically in the classroom scene, because I believe that iPad Go 2 after the classroom scene is showing all the events from 2023 on to the end, 2031 and beyond. So in this part, I really want to just first touch on the opening scene of iPad Go 2 with the goat. As I've covered before, Heliophan, I think, uses Chinese New Year symbolism to signify the passing of time. So the opening scene that we see with the goat popping his head out would signify the year 2027. And I just want to see if we can look for the two solar eclipses in the year of the goat in that opening scene, because I think this is where Heliophan stamps the meaning of eclipses into the viewer's mind to make sure that you are aware that this concept of him using eclipses will be used throughout the movie. Okay, so let's take a look at this opening scene. Obviously, the year of the goat, okay, with the goat here, is year 2027. So there's two eclipses, February 6th and August 2nd. I think the first solar eclipse on February 2nd, when we first see the opening scene, the very first thing is the electric fence knob that has that very distinctive ring on it. And we see the lights that are behind it. And then as it pans out, the lights come on as if coming back into view after finishing the eclipse. So I think this is our first confirmation that the eclipses are important, obviously, and this is the February 6th one from 2027. And the second one, very cleverly done with the hole in the pen, and the goat sticks his head through it, and he seems to have a ring or a bell on his neck. Okay, and it's a ring eclipse, the total solar eclipse of August 2nd. So I think this ring or bell on his neck acting as the the ring eclipse to signify that. So very clever. I think Heliophan is using this opening scene to preempt the user or the viewer to start looking at the eclipses as important time passages in this movie. So let's take a look here at the classroom scene 2017, 18, 19, 2020, 2021, 2022. So we're going to be looking at how this classroom scene is confirming some of these eclipses and stuff between these years, as Heliophan is basically just providing more information as to his usage of the sky. Okay. So the first eclipse, just before we jump into the classroom scene, I think the first actual eclipse shown in the movie is the one from 2017, the Great American Eclipse. What a better one to start with, right, is the Great American Eclipse. This comes right after Obama is wearing his graduation hat. So Obama finished his presidency, obviously, in January 2017. This eclipse comes in August 21st, okay? And we can clearly see with the circle on his cheek and the mole to represent the ring eclipse. I think there's further confirmation, too, that in the classroom scene, our 2017 character here, okay, the head, the path of the eclipse is shown right here, okay? Now let's get into this. I think this is just the most clever thing that Heliophan has done. The buck moon lunar eclipse. So I've heard this covered before, but I never really followed through with it. In 2018, okay, this is our 2018 character sitting here, there is a full blood moon lunar eclipse on the buck moon of July 27th, okay? This character has the buck sitting right above his head, which I think is depicting this buck moon. Not only that, but if we go back, I've said before that Heliophan seems to pan in the classroom first to show us only the characters on the left, okay, only the characters between 2017 and 2023, and then it pans open and shows all the characters. When it's panned to this first one, we see the character for 2019, this guy here, right, that kind of looks like Trump. It just so happens, guys, there's another buck moon lunar eclipse in 2019 on July 16th. So Heliofon has cleverly put the buck behind the character for 2019 first. We can see the hair here is literally like the half eclipse, moon eclipse, okay, of July 16th. So we have here showing the eclipse of 2019, the buck behind him, and then Heliofont pans to the full classroom, and then we see the buck also behind now the 2018 character, signifying the also full lunar eclipse of 2018 on the buck moon. So I don't know, this is the most clever thing I've seen with the usage of like panning to one side of the classroom than the other. Not only that, I think more confirmation is we see the buck has 6 gold flakes coming off of him. It just so happens that there are 6 solar eclipses between, or including 2018 and 2019. Okay, so in 2018 we have February 15th, July 13th, August 11th, January 5th. In 2019, July 2nd, and December 26th. We also see 2 very bright flakes, okay, like these 2 at the top here seem to be brighter or bigger. I am curious whether those are depicting the total eclipses, and then there's 4 dimmer ones that are kind of down at the bottom, which would be the 4 partial eclipses. So just extremely clever, I think. Heliofont's clearly telling us this passage of time and the confirmation of these characters as being years. Furthermore, I think we see Mercury's transit. We have a very unique Mercury transit in 2019. November 11th. So if we look at the eclipse, or the transit, sorry, of Mercury across the sun, we see it comes in from the right, hits the middle, and then dives down off. Okay, these are in sequence here, so Mercury actually starts at the right side, and it transits backwards across the sun, and then down. In the classroom scene, we literally have the head of 2019 right here, and we see the backwards trajectory of Mercury. Okay? This is literally like the exact shape of the transit. So again, just Heliofont cleverly hiding these things in this classroom scene with the vines and everything in the background. For 2020, if we look at the eclipses of 2020, okay, this is our character, right, sitting with the barbed wire. I think that we get confirmation of the 2 eclipses based on the path of this wire. Okay, so if we look at the first on June 21st, this solar eclipse, see this upward arc. And it just so happens on December 14th, we get the downward arc. Okay, so upward arc and downward arc. Okay, moving into 2021, this is another super clever way with the flower moon eclipses. Okay, so it just so happens in 2021, this is our character for 2021, okay, which is behind this guy sitting on the ground with the barbed wire. In the first pan, when we first see the classroom, Lily is completely covering this character. Okay, like it's actually behind Lily. Then, when it goes to the full classroom, we get to see his actual head. So in this first scene, Lily is completely covering the character. Lily has this apple and this red flower in her hair. Is this representing the 2 blood moons of 2021? So there are 2 blood moons. One's a total on May 25th, which is a flower moon. May 25th is the flower moon, okay? It's a red full lunar eclipse shown by the red flower in her hair. And I think this November 18th one is shown by this apple, which has obviously the leaf covering part of it, but you know, it's just the two red objects here are too distinctive to not represent something, and I think that the flower obviously is coinciding with this flower moon. Then in 2022, we have another flower moon, another full lunar eclipse on the May flower moon. So Lily, again, in the first cut, her red flower is covering our character of 2022. And in the other scene, when it pans to everything, we have her also slightly covering her, but we can see part of him. So again, in the first, we have the flower blood moon covering 2022. And this apple, again, could represent the full lunar eclipse in November, as we see her pan in front of the character in the second scene. Okay, so just these two full moons, the two buck moons, and then the two flower moons, just in very, very clever. The other part here is Lily's hair flip that I wanted to cover. So I'm wondering whether these hair flips are representing the eclipses. So on April 30th, we see this eclipse here that is slightly full, right? It's a kind of a more full eclipse, meaning that there's more sun, okay, than the moon. So this flip up here is above the flower moon. So is this eclipse happening first? So April 30th, as it's covering this character. And then as it pans to the other view, we see this other flip here. And I'm curious whether that is the October 25th one. As you'd see, this flip would happen first on October 25th, and then we'd see the final blood moon of November 7th. So not only are we looking at the characters, we're seeing which ones are covering which ones, and we're looking up, like from the top down, in terms of timing wise for the events, right? Like even if we go back to the barbed wire guy, we see the barbed wire, like if we're going from the top bottom, the first eclipse we're going to see is this top arc, the second is the bottom. It's so clever how Heliofont has done this. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. We'll cover more of the classroom scene, as I believe these lines and everything in the background are covering other eclipses or other transits that I think would tell us time frames. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll cover more in the next one. Thank you so much.